My wife just texted me, what kind of interview are you doing?
Obviously, I'm not a good gay, or else I would have researched it a little bit more.
La 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 la. Boys are waiting.
Don't look at me like that. I know it's fucking weird.
I would be pretty stoked to have my face covered in that shit.
So we're not about that messy shit on the show.
I don't know how much information I should give here.
You ever play Gwent?
You ever play Destiny 2?
The home team forgives, the home team does not forget.
Welcome to Unshut, a place where if at any point you feel like you need to shut the up, don't.
Howdy. How you
Hey,
doing?
Brian.
Sorry, I'm getting a little snack. I just got back from the gym.
What's that snack? Are you having jalapeno chips?
I sure am. Jalapeno chips and cooking powder.
Very nice. It's so funny because I just got back from the gym too, and so I'm trying to make sure I don't get fucking sweaty, you know?
Oh, I'm so sweaty right now.
That's awesome. What did you
Yeah.
get to work out today?
Legs.
Sounds whack as fuck.
It did not take me very long to get to the point where I was wobbling. Unfortunately, my disposition is tall and skinny, which means that I'm like born to have knee problems. And so this last year has just been a lot of me like strengthening a lot of my stabilizers and getting to the point where I can go like run like 5, 6 miles again without my shit hurting.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'1".
Damn, that's tall. Okay.
The problem is that my legs are skinny. You know what I mean? Like I just was born with tiny little legs. So yeah, I just got a lot of strengthening. Just make them be responsible about my warm-ups and things like that. So
Well, I'm the complete opposite. I'm brown, I'm short, got big legs.
yeah, I bet you
How's
can squat a lot more than me though. That's for sure.
how's it going, Daniel? How's your morning going? Or afternoon now?
It is going well. Just booked a couple COVID vaccine appointments. So as soon as we're done here, gonna go get boosted, get ready for tour.
Very cool. Are you excited about it?
Oh yeah, we're doing some headline shows. We haven't done any of those really this year. I guess our last tour was kind of a headliner, but no like VIP and like full headline set. So very psyched about playing some songs we haven't played yet.
Did you intend for your hair to be this fucking perfect today? Like,
Thank you. I'm in the midst of a rebrand, so I'm in the middle of growing it out. So I'm about to be a hat guy for a while. But thank you. It means a lot.
very cool. It looks like you took all morning just to get your hair ready. I'm jealous.
I appreciate that.
Of course. Well, we know Brian got a killer workout today. So, what did your morning consist of other than booking your COVID stuff?
No workout for me today. Today's a day off from the gym. I am did the last 3 days, so I am in my break day on my split. But woke up, had a hour-long phone call with our lighting director, talking about things coming up on the next tour, and then realized, oh shit, the tickets for our tour are on sale and I haven't posted yet. So I went and posted on every social media platform. And then when this happens, I usually spend most of the morning responding to people saying like, oh, the tickets for this show aren't working. And then I go and I find the link and I send it to them. And then people say, oh my God, is this happening with the VIP? So I'm just like, customer service for all of our entire fan base for most of the day. So a lot of that, responding to comments, and then finding time to do an interview.
There you go. Got me beat for sure with the multitasking. So, thank you guys so much for taking the time to do this. I'm fucking excited, but the most I'm excited about is that it's Friday the 13th and I'm into spooky shit. So, are you guys by any chance doing anything new when it comes to merch for Halloween? Because if I'm not mistaken, you guys have pretty much showcased the fact that you're also into spooky shit.
So I didn't realize it was going to be Friday the 13th until like this week. And I'm so bummed because we have a Halloween drop and it would have made so much sense for me to have it ready to go today to announce it. We're going to do like a Beetlejuice design. We've got a couple things we're like our last couple albums have been like kind of spooky-ish in general. So it's pretty easy to transition those into like Halloween things. So we got a Halloween drop coming up.
Very cool. Super excited. Daniel, I know you've been to New Orleans. Did anything crazy, supernatural, spooky happen while you were there? Did you experience anything like that?
I don't know. We tried to do a ghost tour that didn't work. I think they were all sold out. We did go see Marie Laveau's tomb though, mausoleum tomb, whatever the above ground one is. It's like in the same little complex as Nicolas Cage's.
What about you, Brian? Anything spooky that's ever happened to you, even if it's not New Orleans?
Not really. I am grateful to, I mean, I've had my share of like waking up and seeing a shadow on the ground and you think it's a dead goat. No, I might be the least spooky. Like, I don't really watch a lot of horror stuff, but the rest of the guys do. John and Ryan for sure watch a lot of horror. My wife watched a lot of horror, but I might be the worst person to ask about that.
Well, I know for me personally, like I'll never go back to New Orleans. It spooked me out of there. Look at me making this all about me when it should be all about you, right? But
I want to
I
know.
it was so fucking crazy. We were supposed to be there for several nights, and on the third or so night, I woke up in a night terror. I've never had one before, but I let out some gnarly fucking screams. I've never heard myself scream like that. And so by the time I woke up, I was already convinced, like, listen, we're leaving. I'm getting on a flight. I don't care. I go to get up and pack my shit, and everything is out from the closet, the drawers. Everything is just tossed on the outside. And anyone that travels with me knows I have severe OCD. I fold everything. I like to have everything in order. It was fucking crazy. So I'll never go back.
Oh, that's trippy.
Daniel, considering you aren't very too skeptical about spooky shit, do you believe in supernatural stuff?
I believe that we don't know everything and that we truly don't know what happens when you die. I don't know if I necessarily believe in physical manifestations of spirits that are amongst us wandering around. Like maybe not what's been exactly written, in a movie, but I do believe we don't know everything, and it's just as plausible that there is nothing as there is something.
Feel that exact same way, especially about not only supernatural, but like religion. There's probably something, but to say that any human knows what's going on is just ridiculous. None of us have any idea what's going on. There's probably something that we don't understand that science can't explain. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Maybe there's
No,
not.
good answers for sure. And here's the thing, just in honor of getting on this spooky topic real quick, okay, I'm going to give you guys a this or that spooky edition, and you just have to pick. All right. Daniel, you're going to go first. Freddy or Jason?
Freddy.
Perfect. Brian, Michael Myers or Ghostface?
Ghostface.
Hell yeah, good call on that for sure. Daniel, Chucky or Annabelle?
Annabelle.
All
Chucky's
right.
Chucky's very funny, but Annabelle's actually kind of spooky.
I actually just learned that Chucky was supposed to be this like gay character. He was like made to be this like gay LGBT ally, whatever. There's a little bit more to it, and obviously I'm not a good gay, or else I would have researched it a little bit more. But fun fact about Chucky: Brian, Pennywise or Jigsaw?
John's gonna hate me. Jigsaw.
Oh, that's
Ah,
crazy.
I agree. That's crazy. I definitely would
Wait,
have gone Pennywise for sure.
wait, Brian, did you go and see the most recent Saw like with us in
No, I have
theaters?
no interest. It is way too much for me. All the songs
Dude,
are way too much for me.
it's become like Fast and Furious, where like first one, totally deadly serious, awesome. And then
Yeah.
eventually they're so off the rails where like we're laughing in the theater and people are not experiencing the movie the
People are
same
like,
way.
what the fuck are you laughing at?
I love it. So the new Jigsaw movies have become fucking comedy. So everyone go and tune in, I guess.
Yeah, there's a biggest spoiler. They get waterboarded with blood, and it's a continuous stream that doesn't end. The scene's like 15 minutes long, and they're just getting waterboarded with blood. How they got all that blood there, who knows?
That is excessive. That's crazy. Well, I wanted to kind of start off with that with you guys because if you're not familiar with the premise of the show, I ask my guests questions they've never been asked before. And sometimes that also means getting to do something that you haven't done in an interview before. So just a little bit of a heads up with that. The only thing I ask is go along with it and don't fucking judge me, okay?
No problem.
But before we go and start shooting this shit, though, I kind of want to backtrack a little bit and talk about you guys just a little bit more. And something that really caught my attention was, Brian, I believe in an interview, you talked about how really what catapulted, I guess, the next chapter in this career, right, was how you guys basically had this fuck it attitude and started to really make music that spoke to you, that you guys wanted a vibe. And I was curious to ask you both, but I'll start with you, Brian. Is there anything that you can recall personally outside of music that also worked out in your favor the day you kind of let go of that control and said, fuck it, I'm just going to rock with it and go with it?
Good question. So when that was happening was right before COVID hit. I shortly after ended up, because of COVID, losing my job entirely because the job was focused around large events that were no longer happening. And the company that I worked for completely closed. And that was a blessing in disguise because they did a really good job of making sure that we got on unemployment benefits that were a lot more available because of COVID. And for the next while, in the time that I didn't have a job, and also we were transitioning into making this a full-time living, I was able to sustain myself and do what I love and make music. And part of me thinks that there are aspects of the slow bloom process that maybe wouldn't have been quite as thought out or maybe wouldn't have been quite as good if I didn't have that time to really dive into it and really digest it. And so there was only a small period of time after when unemployment stopped and when I was able to fully pay my bills on music where I had to do like side work. And it was mostly just like extra creative stuff. I would make music videos for people, feature on people's songs. There was like a year period where I was featured on like 15 songs. It's because I was trying to make a living. And so what I really am grateful about is the fact that it only took about a year more before I was like, okay, now we're at the point where I can pay my bills with music. Yeah, I mean, I know that is kind of related to music, but realistically, it's also just like my livelihood, my living, that when all of that was happening, I finally was able to start doing my passion full time.
No, I absolutely love that because that's definitely a shift I haven't really talked about on record. Was obviously COVID was a very terrible thing that happened. Everyone got to experience it in so many different ways. But one of the positives that I got to see was how it truly separated the people that were going to think quick on their toes and make something happen versus the ones that were going to become submissive to the thought of, well, I guess this is the end of everything and then we'll see what happens. And so I love hearing someone like you say that because you're absolutely right. Even though it was somewhat music related, people forget that music's not just music, it's a career, it's a business, it's far more than just sing on a track and move on with your day, right? So that's amazing. What about you, Daniel? What's something that you can think of that basically having that fuck it attitude worked out in your favor?
Well, when we started the band, we literally were like, we all came from metal and hardcore bands, and we started the band to try and do the newfound glory thing where we're like, we're metal guys, let's write accessible music and sell out. That was the plan. Same thing with Fall Out Boy. Didn't really work for us. So we said, if we're not going to make a living playing music, we should at least play stuff that we like really, really like. Not to say we don't like our old stuff, but like, we just wanted to do stuff that completely satisfied us like creatively. So when we wrote Slow Bloom, we are like, fuck it, this is for us. You know, we didn't explode with our first record. Turns out people vibed with the new stuff we were doing much better anyway, so it worked out for us. I do think the big silver lining, like Brian was saying, from lockdown was that it really gave us the time to like sit and hone the album, and we didn't feel any pressure to like rush to release anything. And it gave me a lot of time to like find creative new ways to still be a band while not being able to play shows. And I think that's something that we've carried forward since then, like having all these different outlets where we can interact with fans and still like have the band exist in a digital space that don't involve playing shows.
Patreon basically came from COVID. We were probably going to start one eventually, but we immediately said, "Oh, now is the time. We are starting a Patreon right now." And now it's been great. It's been a steady flow of income, and it's also been a really great way to connect with people. Not to plug it too much, but in our Discord, people can just tag us and ask us questions. So,
Yeah, well, and I love that so much too, because again, it's more than just putting out a record and moving on with your day. And so I feel like something that was also intriguing about you guys was how open you guys were about how, hey, this is not an overnight success. Brian, I believe you also talked about, sorry if I quote you incorrectly and my numbers are off, but I believe you said that the home team was pretty much established between sending demos back and forth between a couple of members before you came on in the early like 2009 area. And then in 2013, it became an actual band, but it wasn't until 2015 that you actually got to join, correct?
that is all correct. Yeah, it was
So
Daniel and John who were the two members.
gotcha. And so I feel like that's kind of like what in my opinion, means trajectory, right? It means learning to adapt. And it seems like you guys have been doing that a lot more than most people think. People think you're like this new band that had overnight success. And obviously, you guys are killing it right now. But I think it's so important to remind people that there's a journey behind it and there's more to it than just music. But I was also curious to ask you both, and I'll start with you, Daniel, on this one. In honor of home being in your band's name, when did it feel like home? Do you remember an actual moment with Brian where he came in and it just felt like, all right, he's the addition that we all could have hoped for, and this is the moment that it felt like it's a fit?
So I have two moments in mind. Brian, feel free to unplug and not listen to what I'm about to say. I don't want to glaze you too much. So there's two moments. One, we were in San Jose or the Bay Area somewhere on like a DIY tour, and
Dude, Stockton, California.
was it Stockton?
I know
Where we,
exactly what story you're about to tell.
I don't know if you do. This is when we went to Betha's lunch, or we went to lunch at Ciro and Betha's, like the restaurant she worked at.
Keep going, because maybe it's the same. I don't know.
Okay. It was on my birthday, and Brian gave like a toast to me on my birthday. And it was the first time where I was like, oh shit, like he recognizes what I do, which is different from a behind the scenes thing that like other people don't see. So that was a big, like, I think friendship relationship moment. The second one is when we were doing the demos for Slow Bloom. I remember hearing the improvement in Brian's voice, like because he was, 4 years older, 3 years older, 3 years of constant touring and just like a better singer and a much stronger vocalist. I remember hearing the original demos and like the quality in his voice, it was so much stronger than the finished versions of the previous record. That was the moment where, for me, I was like, oh, I got a career here. Like, I got a shot. I just got to keep, supporting this guy. All right, Brian, you can plug back in now.
I apologize for interrupting you because I was incorrect about what story you're going to tell, though I do remember that like it was yesterday.
What story
I
were
thought,
did you
I
think I
thought
was going to say?
you remember the church we played on like the third day of my first tour in Stockton, California with Mariner?
Oh, are you talking about the one where Tyler?
Yes.
Yeah.
He had seen every iteration of the band singer wise. Like he had seen the first singer and he had seen the second singer, and now he had seen me. And I remember he looked, I think after we had played, he went up to you and he's like, that's the guy.
And I do. Okay, that's very funny. I do remember that. The
I thought you
drummer
were
of,
gonna tell that story, but
yeah,
yeah.
it was like the drummer of like the second band we ever toured with back in, like 2014 is when we toured with him.
Brian, would you say that what you just shared about the church, is that your moment where you felt like this is home, this is it for me?
Hell no. No, it took a second, because if I'm going to be completely honest, there was some time where I was actually pretty unsure about the dynamic of the band, and the majority of that was because of my relationship with John, who is the primary songwriter. He's our guitarist, and him and Daniel were the founding members. But for the first 3-ish years, my relationship with John was not that good. We just kind of clashed a lot. We are the furthest apart in age, so that probably had something to do with it. And I was pretty young at the time. I was 19 when I joined. And so I just didn't quite feel like that I knew for sure that this was the final thing. I was confident that this was for sure the best thing I'd had thus far. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to put my eggs in another basket right now, because this is definitely the best one I got. But I just wasn't totally sure about it. I mean, I felt at home with the dudes, like as a band and as a unit, as early as like, I would say 2018 is probably the first time I really felt like things were gelled and things had come together. And again, that's because in 2018, me and John had, in the summer, we had this one day where we just had to, like, we hashed everything out. It was, there was fucking crying and shit. But after that, we had so much more mutual respect for one another because we finally got to like get so much stuff off of our chests. That's when I started to feel a little more like gelled in with the band. But I would say when we were doing the demos for Slow Bloom, before I even started singing, like doing any vocals, when I heard what John was writing, and when I heard when him and I were working together on it, because it was the first time we had ever actually worked together properly. Better Off was just like, yeah, sing over this, singing monkey. Now we were working together, and then it started to feel like, oh, this is our future. And Yeah, like Better Off was a lot of uncertainty, a lot of figuring out what was going to happen. But as soon as we started writing demos for Slow Boom, I was like, oh, this is it. This is what we're doing.
It's so refreshing to also hear that because I feel like, and I talk about this a lot on the show, I'm very intuitive with everything that I do. And I feel like alignment is so important and what message is coming out of what you're doing beyond the artistry. It's, again, more than just music. And I feel like that's a really good lesson for anyone out there to basically know there's always going to be shitty dynamics in everything you do in life. It's just the ones that you know are worth putting up with. And you just have to stick through a little bit longer because not everything's going to be magic and perfect. So thank you for sharing that. I personally didn't know that story. If you've shared that in an interview before, I'm so sorry I missed it.
No worries.
Brian, in an interview, you said no one will tour with us. Now, without getting messy, because we're not about that messy shit on the show, sometimes messy in a good way, but not messy in a talking shit way. I am just truly curious, okay? With this new chapter you are in, has there been anyone that has circled back around to try to get a piece of the pie now?
So, one thing I'll say to preface it is that must have been an older interview because there was a period of time where we felt like nobody would tour with us. I wrote a whole song about it. It's called Who Do You Know Here? And we felt like we kept getting edged out by other bands who just had better management or had better booking or, but like was bringing absolutely nobody to a show, had just formed the band 4 months prior. And we were just like, what the fuck? What? We've been grinding out here. We'll bring 50 people to your show. Like, what is so wrong with us? Like, why won't anybody tour with us? And eventually, I'm kind of grateful for that experience because over time, we kind of just had to prove ourselves a lot more, which made us, I don't know, harder and more resilient. And so, to answer your question, 1000% yes, there are people who have come circling back. We are a little jaded to a lot of people. We are not ones to hold grudges for no reason. That said, we are ones to hold grudges for those who wronged us in the past. We do not forget things. And if I will say this too, I bring up John a lot for a variety of reasons, but he will not forget anything. I admire that about him. Yes, there are definitely people who have come back around. We have a little bit of a chip on our shoulder. We're not going to be dicks about it. Like if something works out, like we are definitely willing to overlook something that happened in the past. Because again, like I get it. Our music wasn't that good back then. We weren't bringing that many people. Like we didn't really have a lot to stand on. And if somebody didn't want to take a chance on us, it's like, cool. Most bands don't make it. It's like to take a chance on somebody is kind of a risk. So anyway, we don't feel that way anymore. We definitely now are like, we have plenty of tours lined up and we have plenty of people who are down to rock with us. And we are only jaded about the past. We'll say that much.
I will say speaking specifically about John, obviously I'm not going to name names. There is one very particular instance where a guy was a real jerk to us or a real jerk to John in the past, and he came back much later and was like, "Yo, I love you guys. I'd love to tour with you." And John was very clear, like, "Hey, man, you don't remember me, but I remember you. Like when we were not worth anything, this is what happened. We played this show together. You were a huge dick. This is an important moment in my life where you made me realize I never want to treat anyone like that. So thank you for giving me that experience." And the guy didn't deny it. He said, "Yeah, people have told me that before. Thank you for pointing that out. I'm sorry I treated you like that." And so like it's totally squashed now.
Yeah, he was actually very cool and did everything in his power to be like, dude, I'm so sorry. If there's any way I can make it up to you, didn't mean for that to happen. Yada yada yada. And now it's all good now.
But for the most part, we have we not getting a tour, and then all of a sudden, like the band's agent is reaching out to us about doing a tour, and we're like, "Why didn't you want to do this 2 years ago when we needed it?"
No, exactly. Well, I mean, I will say this. It's definitely good to remember, and it's definitely good to take the positive out of the lesson that came out of it. But boy, do I know that must feel fucking good. So good job to you guys.
The home team forgives, the home team does not forget.
Mic drop right there. Fuck yeah, absolutely. Daniel, I know that it is no secret that you're a cat lover. Okay. And now this is where we're about to start transitioning into doing some shit. Listen, if you don't get off this call and think, what the fuck did we do? Then I don't know what to tell you. But if there's one thing I will say is you will remember this interview for the rest of your fucking life, okay? In honor of you being a cat lover, Daniel, can you do us a favor and just get really close to the camera and give us the best meow you've ever given in your entire life?
Hold on. Do you want it to be, oh, yeah, I can make my microphone and my camera really close together. Meow!
That is an imitation of his cats.
That is my cat in particular. That's not a regular cat sound. My cats are yelling, whiny little babies.
Yeah.
Hey, they're bougie. Cats are bougie as shit, all right? So I get it.
That's the cat version of an ooh woo.
I like it. I mean, I thought you were going to go the sexy route, but hey, listen, we don't judge here. You do your thing your way, okay?
No,
That's perfect.
no, in my household, there is nothing sexy about those cats. They are screechers.
Brian, before I ask you the next question, I'm just totally curious in case I got this wrong. Are you vegan by any chance?
Sure am.
Okay, perfect. So I'm not vegan, but I will say this. I do make a bean vegan version of pulled pork out of banana peel. It's my absolute fucking favorite. I do love vegan options, but I came up with this question and I almost like kicked myself in the ass after I wrote it down because I'm like, oh shit, he's vegan. But I'm gonna ask it anyway just to shoot the shit with you. We're just gonna go along with it because it was the way I wrote it that made me laugh. You had posed your face as decomposed in a music video. We following?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so it made me think of a charcuterie board. And since we're getting into spooky season, something that's trending is people like to put, meats on a skeleton and put that on their charcuterie board. So that prompted me to ask, Brian, if you were to put your face on a charcuterie board, what kind of meat would we be slapping on your face? Don't judge me for asking it that way. It's just exactly what I wrote down. I journal when I do these things, and we're rocking with it.
I
So,
love the vernacular is perfect. I would say it's called Juicy Marbles. It's a really expensive vegan steak brand. It's a little less like steak than I think people expect, but it's a lot more like corned beef, which I love. Fucking love corned beef. So yeah, I would be pretty stoked to have my face covered in that shit because that means $200 is on my face for sure.
oh,
All right,
hell
Brian.
yeah.
Now get really close to the mic and the camera and do your best imitation of a broccoli.
I just pull out my hair and push it up as much as I can.
Exactly. No, that's a good answer. I definitely was not expecting you to have a vegan meat on deck, so I did. So that's amazing. Hopefully, we get some branding deals out of it. So, what's up?
Oh, I would love that.
My wife just texted me, "What kind of interview are you doing?" Because she heard me yell.
Well, she'll get to see it later. So, you guys recently wrapped up the summer school tour. Daniel, in honor of summer ending, what is something you remember back in the day missing the most about summer when school started again?
Oh, I mean that's easy. Not having to go to school. I wanted to stay home and play video games and do my summer sports camp or whatever. Okay, here's my hot take on summer. Everyone thinks summer is like the best time of year. I disagree. I think we are brainwashed and programmed to think that summer is great because it's when we didn't have school, but really spring and fall are the best seasons. Summer is just as bad as winter, but the opposite.
All right. I like that. Haven't heard that one before. Brian, what about you? What is something that takes you back to that?
There were a lot of really memorable vacations. And the other thing that I really liked about summer was knowing my personality as a kid. Autonomy was really important to me, like even as early as like being 10 or 11 and being able to go do kind of whatever I want. Luckily, my parents actually did give me a lot of independence and I wasn't too much of a delinquent kid. So I wasn't getting into too much trouble. So they were like, yeah, man, go fucking hang out with your friends at Richmond Beach all day. I don't care. And I remember what it was like to feel like I could kind of go do whatever I wanted in a day. And that was really freeing as like, a 13-year-old who is told to do shit all day that they don't want to do. And so I have a lot of nostalgia for the idea of waking up and then hitting up a friend and going to Rite Aid just to go get some snacks and then walk over to the beach. And like, dude, yeah, like, and what's funny is that since I've been, the last 6, 7 years, with the exception of a lot of different responsibilities. Technically, I do that now. Technically, there's nothing really that different about my life now. I just have so many goals now that now I'm the one who's going and doing things that I don't always necessarily want to do. Like I can do whatever I want, but that means I'm also going to be following my dreams and pursuits as opposed to just kind of, I don't know, taking each day as it comes. So there's a lot of nostalgia in that level of independence for me, especially as a kid.
That is so amazing. I don't know if Rite Aids are still open, but a photo shoot in Rite Aid, I'm going to manifest it now just in honor of that nostalgia for you. I know that you guys are already getting ready to get back on the road. I know you guys are like a fucking machine when it comes to these shows. Can the fans expect any unreleased music during this tour?
No chance.
No chance.
No way.
No, we have
We
so
are
much music now that like we can't even play all the things people want us to play.
Yeah. And we have new music that we're working on and that like none of it's quite show ready. One song we could theoretically play live if we really wanted to, which I do, but we'll save that for next year. But yeah, as Daniel said, now we're in the territory of like we have 3 albums. We already don't play one of them and we just have to pick the heat from all those ones and people, yeah, give people what they want.
Well, we can't wait to hear it. And in honor of new music, your guys' signature genre is heavy pop, right? That's what you guys are calling it. And I agree 1000%. In honor of new music, Brian, if you can pick one song to redo completely acoustic, which one would you pick?
I don't know how much information I should give here, but we are planning to do some reimagined songs. And so I have already technically picked them. But how about this? I will reveal one of them that probably was going to be obvious that will be on that I am very excited about how it is turning out because we are already working on it. The reimagined rendition ooh, of Turn You Off is going to be insane.
Okay, so do you remember how a while ago I talked about being intuitive with everything I do, right?
Mhm.
That is the song we are highlighting at the end of this interview. So that just made my entire fucking day. So
How
it's a
about that?
sign. It's a fucking sign. But I don't know much about musical instruments. But Daniel, I do want to ask you the same question. And don't get mad at me if I say this incorrectly, but I know that acoustic version of a drummer could be something like bongos or something. Is there a song? I know. Don't look at me like that. I know it's fucking weird. I just didn't know what else to come up with for drummers and acoustic versions. So that's the best I could do. But if there's a song you could pick to do completely on just the little banjo, bangos, drumming, and Brian singing right next to you, what song would it be?
So the reason that we're laughing is because there is a song where I play bongos on this reimagined record.
And it rips.
Yeah, so I think for this one particular song, I'm not going to say which one. I'll pick a different one that I think would be cool. I think Fashion Forward from our first record would go really well with some bongos. But we did an acoustic version and I used a cajon, which is like a specific, it's very similar, but it's like a single box that has like multiple sections that sound different. But I think we had one song in this style in the tank and I used every single thing I could. And so I don't think I could do another one. I had one bongo song in me. I did it all, and it's probably the last one I'll do.
Your hands were hurting at the end of that.
Oh yeah, dude, hand drummers, it's a completely different thing than drumming with sticks. Like my hands are just bright red. They look like tomatoes. I'm literally you're slapping, wood with your hands. It sucks.
Slapping wood with your hands can suck sometimes for sure.
Oh, yeah.
You guys, I don't know if like the music gods were on my side today, but I don't think you guys realize how like, and I've talked about this very openly. When I started this journey talking to musical artists, like I've never really had a big fangirl bone in my body. I grew up in LA. I've been in the business literally since I was a kid. And so I've never really had a fangirl bone in my body. But when shit like this happens, I am like, again, it's the reason why I like to just preach to everyone to be intuitive with what you do and have intention and just fucking rip it because it's magic you cannot explain. And the fact that fucking bongos and acoustic shit came up, I'm totally fangirling right now. So
Awesome.
it's so amazing.
When the album comes out, we have no idea when it's going to happen. We basically like we realized because our touring schedule is so busy, we only have this 1 week to go and do this. Otherwise, we won't do it till like next May. So we just like went and did it. I don't think we've even sent anything to the label yet, so they don't even know. Like they know it happened, but they haven't paid for it. We paid for it, and we hope they're gonna like it enough to reimburse us.
They will.
We
There's
kind of just
absolutely
said,
no way.
hey, sorry, I know we didn't talk about this at all, but we're just gonna go do this because we have to do it now, or else we're not gonna do it at all because we're gonna be touring so much in the next year that yeah. So we just kind of did it.
When you hear that song, you'll know the one I'm talking about. It'll be very obvious.
Oh, I'm probably gonna cry. I'm so excited. With you guys also, first of all, genius idea. If I'm not mistaken, you guys are doing a separate tour from this tour that you guys are getting ready to go on, and it's a tour you're doing separate from it, correct? Like you guys are doing it like on your way back or in between or something like that?
Yeah, it's like on the way out and on the way home because we're from Seattle and the tour starts in Tampa and ends in Toronto. So it's like if we don't play some shows on the way back, that means we have to ship everything. So it's better to do a couple extra shows and we get to sneak in some markets that we weren't going to play this year. Yeah.
What's the one city or location that you're looking forward to do the most that you didn't get to do on your last tour?
Probably Omaha because it's the show that got canceled. We weren't planning on playing Omaha on these routing shows until it got canceled on summer school. And the reason it got canceled was because they had a storm and there were like power outages all over the place. The venue didn't have any power. Yeah, we're excited to go play Omaha because there were a lot of people who were really bummed that that show got canceled.
And then also, we're playing Richmond, Virginia, and the summer school tour didn't go to like DC or Baltimore or anything in that area. It skipped that whole section. So Baltimore is like one of our best markets. So we're playing in the area that we typically do really well in. And I know a lot of people in Richmond are very excited that they get a show.
Super exciting. Is there a city that you guys can recall that totally surprised you, not because you were doubting the turnout or anything like that? And first of all, I think putting all pride aside, even when you do a show and only 5 fucking people show up, I still think it's a great thing. It's a good experience. And hey, 5 people is better than none. But what city can you guys recall that totally surprised you?
Charlotte was really sick. Charlotte was really sick. Charlotte and Worcester, Massachusetts, both of those were very surprising. It was 2 nights that we were playing last, and yeah, they went very hard.
Are those the same for you, Daniel?
Charlotte definitely on this last tour. We'd never played there before. We'd played other cities in North Carolina, but this was the first time being there.
Really?
Charlotte? I don't think so.
Because is Greensboro in the same state? I don't know that area.
Yeah, Greensboro is in the same state, but not the same area.
Because we definitely have played Greensboro a few times.
Yeah, but never Charlotte.
Wow, I think you might be right. I guess we had never played Charlotte before.
I had never seen a band in our world do that because most bands play in Greensboro at the venue we're playing on this next headliner.
Yeah.
Also, in general, Atlanta, honestly, is like
always.
I mean, the shows we do very well in Atlanta and crowds are always very sick and it's like just about as far away from us as possible. So it's always pretty surreal being like on the complete opposite end of the country and it feels like home.
That's the best feeling. In honor of Turn You Off, Brian, we're on a date. What would be something you would say purposely to turn me off?
You ever played Destiny 2?
Dude, no, even worse than that. You ever play Gwent?
You ever played Gwent?
Is that what yours is, Daniel? Because you were going to be next. So
For me, it definitely, yeah, it would have to be a gaming thing. So it'd have to be like just start yapping about Counter-Strike. That's the main game that I play. Just start telling you Counter-Strike strategies and explaining why you need to use this type of utility and yeah.
Strategies that are 14 years old.
No, I talk about I'd bring it up to modern day. You know, CS2 just came out a year ago. I'd talk about current metas.
You mean CS3?
No, CS2 is the name of the game.
Oh, I'm sorry. CS:GO is the one that you were playing a lot.
Yes,
Got it.
the fifth iteration of Counter-Strike called CS2.
all I know is all these nerd fetishes are probably going to come out of this fucking episode, and it's not where I intended it to go. But I know so many people find this shit hot. They're like, gamers, nerds, we love it. So definitely not where I thought it was going to go. I think you guys were going to say something like totally nasty, but hey, that's perfect.
If there's any gamers who are listening to this, my main games now are Valorant and Counter-Strike. I am currently Diamond 1 in Valorant.
Wow.
I would be higher, but I just don't play enough. In Counter-Strike, I maxed out at supreme.
He'd be higher, but he's busy making hits. So take the wins where you can, Daniel.
Yeah, I go on tour and then there's a new season. Like, well, I only got to play for a week before the ranks reset. What am I supposed to do?
I love it. Well, the next thing we're going to do. So, Brian, I hope you didn't think you were off the hook with Daniel being the only one that meowed. Now, this next thing, we are all going to do one at a time, and I'll go first just to take the hit first. And this was just something I was so embarrassed I journaled, but I'm going to read to you what I wrote. In honor of Brian's tongue, some people seem to be triggered about on Instagram, we're all going to take turns and freestyle la la la, a sound, a rhythm, whatever comes to mind, in the most obvious tongue action, obnoxious way. And I'll go first. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
And again, I am not a musician or anything, so I'm just going to go with whatever random beat. And here I go. La 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 la.
Hell yeah.
Daniel?
La 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 la. Boys are waiting.
That's perfect. Brian?
All right. La 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 la.
I am so embarrassed this just happened, but I'm so grateful for you guys to going along with it. So thank you so much.
I make art for a living. You can't embarrass me more than I've embarrassed myself.
Okay, but here's the thing though. I'm actually glad you brought that up, Daniel, because no one that's actually good can actually say that, okay? Because I've seen some of the shit you draw. It's really fucking good.
Hold on. If there's drawing, it's not me. Ryan does some drawings on like some drum heads. I have stick figures and a fish.
All I know
Art.
is there was something on your Instagram that I thought it looked like a drawing or something you sketched or maybe like a witch or something. I don't know. I'm just kind of freestyling right now,
Oh,
but
that would have been someone else drawing for me. I have the art abilities of a 6-year-old.
I would love to challenge Daniel to draw. Daniel or John. It'd be a really, really fun experience watching what they draw.
Stick figure, pointy hat, almost like a pilgrim hat.
Hell yeah.
I'm definitely going to have to go back and look and see what it was that I saw that I thought made you an incredible artist. I literally had it on my notes. He is so good at drawing. I'm so jealous.
I guarantee you it is not. I am not good at drawing at all. People ask like, "Hey, will you draw something for me to get a tattoo?" And I always ask them like, "Please don't get this tattooed on your body."
And then they go get it tattooed anyways.
Oh, is that what happens?
Yeah. Daniel will be like, please don't get this tattooed. It looks like shit. And they'll be like, I don't care. It's going on my leg.
That's a vibe. I would totally do it too. So, but you guys, thank you so much for shooting this shit with me and hopefully doing some things you've never done on record before in an interview. So, thank you for going along with it. The last thing I want to do, Daniel, is I noticed that it came off. I mean, I don't know now, considering I may have been looking at the wrong Instagram, but if I'm not mistaken, you're an uncle, correct?
I am an uncle.
And you only have one nephew, correct?
I do.
So one of the things I wanted to do, just because it pulled on my heartstrings a little bit, because I know I'm an awesome uncle and I just love being an uncle. And from the photos that I saw on your Instagram, you seem to be a very active and loving uncle. And I've never highlighted any sort of like uncle love on the show. So something I wanted to do to kind of close this out a little bit is I wanted you to leave a message to your nephew that eventually down the line, he'll go back and play this and one, hear you meow, but two, also hear some words of encouragement from his uncle.
I love this.
Okay, let me first start with just a general message to my nephew. I hope I am still cool Uncle Daniel and I haven't become cringe and you aren't embarrassed to tell your friends that your uncle plays in a band for a living. I hope you have grown into a good-hearted man because you're already taller than your parents and you're as big as me now. I hope you've
Is that
made good.
true?
Yeah, he's like 5'10".
Whoa, that's great. I haven't seen him in years.
Yeah, he's a full-sized human now. He's going into high school. Actually, he just started high school like last week. Yeah, I hope I'm not embarrassing to you, and I hope you have made good decisions and you have grown into a good young man.
Amazing. Brian, do you have any nieces or nephews or anything like that?
I'm the oldest sibling.
Nice. Okay.
I do not have kids. So, although I will say this, there is a very good chance that I will become an uncle before I become a dad.
It's funny because I was journaling on here and I was like, I didn't see anything with kids on his, but the only thing I'll say is, Brian, I didn't have anything sweet for you to leave a message to or anything like that because I didn't see any nieces or nephews, but that's okay. So I guess we'll just wrap it up with you being the sexy person that you are and tell everyone where to find you, where to stream your music, and all those good details.
Yeah, we are a band called The Home Team. We describe our music as heavy pop. We have a new album called The Crucible of Life out now. We are about to start a tour with a band called Neck Deep. We also have some headlining US dates. We have a UK tour that is unfortunately completely sold out, so don't try and buy tickets. Yeah, go check out our music and our
Wait,
music.
when is this coming out?
2 more Mondays. So not this coming Monday, but the next.
Perfect. Andy, you want to plug the next one?
Oh, great. Also, then by this time, our tour with State Champs and Broadside in Europe will be announced. So if you live in Europe and you want to come see us in February.
Oh, hell yeah. Are you fucking kidding me? That is amazing. Congrats, you guys.
Thanks.
It's
Well,
gonna be fun.
I know everyone's going to be super stoked for the announcement and all of that good stuff. I promise not to leak anything. I'll sign whatever I need to sign. But 2 more Mondays, this will air, and I'm super excited. So thank you guys so much for your time and for going along with all the shenanigans. And it's been a really great special episode for me. So thank you guys so much.
Cool.
Thanks for having us.
Of course. Take care, you guys. Hey, if you've made it this far, don't forget to follow the socials on the screen or in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. See you next week.